Tappy has just released Arc 7 Chapter 110, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. Highly recommend you check out my Arc 7 Chapter 109 summary. Anyways, let's begin. The claws seep into the ground as she runs across the field. She continues to act as a messenger on the battlefield, as the second fastest amongst the rebels. The reason why rebels could stalemate the soldiers of the imperial capital was mainly due to Otto, Abel, and Frederica. Otto would obtain the information, Abel would organize it and utilize it, Frederica would then give different groups new commands, which were given to her by Abel. Frederica mutters that the words Garfiel spoke, that there is something wrong with the soil and the earth of Wallachia. Frederica explains that Garfiel's instincts are usually correct, so she trusts her brother. We see that Frederica rushed back to the main camp with this new information, giving it to Selena Dracoi. Since she arrived with Roswell, she was an ally, and Roswell associates himself with competent people, meaning Selena Dracoi had character to her. This is evident from the fact that she is second in command and has now taken reign over the army since Abel had left. We see Schultz give Frederica a cloak, since Frederica is naked after transforming into a beast and then reverting back to a human form. We see Utakata is also present. Selena says it would be unwise to disregard Garfiel's warning. Since Roswell is allied with Garfiel, that means that Selena respects Garfiel's opinion. Selena says that the words mentioned by Garfiel also resonates with the words stated by the Stargazer, and also by the masked man Abel. Selena also states that the masked man was arrogant, almost as if he was the emperor. Frederica then asks what Abel said before he departed, and Selena said that Abel said the end is near, and that the outcome would be decided without leaning to either the Imperials or the rebel side. Schultz wonders if that means that the war will be over and that Priscilla, Al, and Heinkel would return. Frederica then asks what to do, and Serena states to look at the battlefield. Frederica looks and sees that Megoro, one of the 9 divine generals, is leaving the battlefield and headed towards the imperial capital. Selena then states to give the command, if something happens at the Crystal Palace, to cease the fighting. The scene changes. The blue dragon sword and axe collide. The man's gaze that pierces her indicates that he has not forgotten about her. The axe-wielding enemy, whose name she did not know, was tormenting Petra and her friends. Next to Petra, Otto is breathing heavily after landing from the magical evacuation device. Al came to assist him, however Petra was disappointed. If Garfiel or Emilia showed up, they could have easily overwhelmed the axe-wielding man, but Petra appraised Al's strength as not high. He seemed to be weaker than anyone in the Shudrak tribe, but stronger than Otto or Hor. Todd swings his axe at Al's neck, but Al blocks it. As Todd attacks Al, we can see that Al parries the attacks. Petra states that she wants to help, but is unsure. It looked like there were around 5 times where Al should have died, but he miraculously survived. Todd jumped backwards, and an Imperial soldier shot a fireball at Al and Medium. Al and Medium then duck for cover as the surrounding area is scorched in flames. It seems that the attack was meant to cut off their escape route, essentially encircling them in flames so that they couldn't escape. Todd states that he should have killed Al at least 6 times by now, but Al states that Todd has bad luck. Petra agrees with Todd. Al seemingly dodges attacks and avoids fatal strikes. Al states he doesn't have preparation, unlike the guy behind him, referring to Otto. An Imperial soldier shoots dozens of more fireballs at the surrounding area, setting the place ablaze. Medium then stands next to Al. Al looks around, noticing that all of the Imperial soldiers have disappeared, including Todd. Either they were taken care of, or they retreated and left them to die in the flames. Ao sees that no one is there. Everyone is gone except for them, and again reassures them that they need to escape. Otto and Petra hold hands, and Otto thanks Petra. Petra calls out to Otto, and Otto twists and falls down. A moment later, an axe cleaves where Otto's head was. Using this opening, Petra casted Gewalt at the man's face. Medium, using Ao's back as a springboard, attacks. Medium's sword strike swung down, hitting the man in the forehead. However, Petra noticed that the man deliberately let his head get hit, with the man's headband taking the blunt of the attack. The man, now injured and bleeding from the head, looks at Otto, and Otto states that he won't explain how he knew. The man clicks his tongue and runs away. Otto realizes that the man had truly disappeared, and disappeared once there was a disadvantage for him. Ao and Medium cheer that they won. Ao then asks how Otto knew. Otto states that he used his divine protection to communicate with the insects underground. They can detect Todd's footsteps. The reason why Petra and Otto were holding hands is because Petra was using her yang magic on Otto to sharpen his divine blessing. Then when Todd attacked, he knew due to his blessing. They decide to escape and head back to the main camp, but Otto says something is happening. It's the information he gained from his divine blessing. The scene changes. A great disaster is coming to the Empire. We must do whatever it takes to help the Emperor. Rem looks at the man which is bound in chains. Gos, a divine general. Rem released the man and then healed him, and Gos thanked her, stating he would have introduced her to his wife and kids if he had the time to, but he has to go. Gos states to find Mogoro or Kathma, who are nice. He proceeded to leave, but some guards stopped him. It seems some of the Valakian soldiers, those more trusted by the Prime Minister, knew that Gos was kept in the basement. Gos commended the men and then swung his fist, knocking them around before making his way to the royal palace. All of the obstacles were now gone for Rem. She healed some of the injured soldiers and then entered the main building, knocking on the building door and telling Katya to come out. Katya is scared due to the loud voice, but Rem says that the man left, before further stating that Gos incapacitated all of the soldiers in the estate. Katya states that she cannot leave since she is a hostage. Rem states that there is no one there to hold them there, but Katya doesn't really budge. Rem tells her to open the door so she can see her face one last time. Katya unlocks the door, then Rem states that she lied before proceeding to roll Katya out of the building. Katya tried to resist but eventually gave up. Rem said that she knows Katya is waiting for her fiancé, but to wait somewhere safer. Katya states that this is the safest location. However, they look up and see a giant Mogora walking towards the royal palace, and then they both agree to escape. They get to Flop's room and knock and introduce themselves. Flop opens the door, holding a mirror. Rem then asks what the mirror is for, and Flop says that it's a weapon. Rem asks if Flop can fight with a mirror, but Flop states that it was the only thing he had. We see that Flop's personality rubs Katya the wrong way, and we see that Madeline visited Flop before leaving the battle. This was something Rem knew herself though, as she had witnessed Madeline visiting Flop. The group decide to leave, with Flop stating that he has a message to deliver anyway. They discuss what to do. Flop then asks what they should do with all of the captives, namely the fake princes of Valakia, which were all kept on the property. Ideally, they should leave them there, however, Rem wants to help them. Katya and Rem agree to give them the keys or put it in an area where it will take them some time to get it. Flop gathers the group to leave, however, Flop looks outside and then he runs back inside and he tells them to be quiet. Rem then looks out and sees lifeless shadows forming, soldiers with cracks on their body. We see Rem Flop discussing the new enemy. They identify that they look human, but they feel like weird creatures. Katya, who had not seen the enemy, is of course unsure about what they are talking about. Rem wonders if this is the disaster, linking it to what got stated. With Rem's intuition as a healer, she states that it doesn't feel like these figures are alive. Flop and Katya are taken aback by this statement, and the group listen and hear the screams of soldiers who were attacked by Goz. The mysterious pale-faced soldiers were now killing the soldiers in the mansion, meaning that Rem and the rest of them would most likely be killed also. Rem blames herself for the soldiers' deaths. If she had put their bodies into a room, then they wouldn't be getting slaughtered right now. Rem decides therefore she needs to save the crown princes, or the fake ones. After all, they could potentially team up. And Flop is in agreement. The only issue is that they can't get the keys anymore. They would have to break the lock. However, there was also an issue. Katya was in a wheelchair and the wheels make sounds when they move, meaning that if they try and move Katya around, they will be heard and therefore killed. They come in an agreement to leave Katya in the room and to come back to save her. Rem promises Katya to return and Rem and Flop leave, darting around using stealth. They can smell the blood in the air. Flop and Rem make it all the way to where the crown princes are kept. 3 undead soldiers are by the entrance, so Flop decides to bait them away from the door. Rem and Flop split up. Rem then takes a steel sword she grabbed and will use it to break the lock on the door. She had no fighting experience, and the only thing she's broken was Subaru's finger. Flop then distracts the 3 undead soldiers by stating he's a merchant peddling wares. However, when the undead soldiers turned to him, he said that he had to go. However, the undead soldiers had intelligence to them. Flop, seeing this, asked if they could talk. The undead soldier said that everyone in the Empire will die. Flop then said he had to go. Rem darted out, slashing all 3 enemies in the back before they could turn around. She kept swinging the sword over and over again, and Flop told her to stop. Rem looked down and saw the 3 undead enemies crumbled into fragments. Flop stated that they looked like pottery or glass. Rem asks if they're dead, and Flop says they were probably dead even before this. Rem didn't want to kill a living being, so she could protect her heart by realizing that this enemy was undead. Flop tries to open the locked door, however the undead enemies start to rebuild. The fragments start repairing themselves. Rem and Flop were caught off guard. The enemies returned and reformed. Rem knew she had to swing her sword before the enemy, but she was too slow. The enemy attacked, however a light engulfed them and crystals pierced their chest. A small shadow appeared, telling Rem sorry to keep her waiting. He was carrying a girl with a beautiful dress in his arm. Rem looked at the small black-haired boy and didn't really recognize him. The scene changes. Katya backs herself in the back of the room. The undead are banging on her door, trying to get in to kill her. Katya states that she is unlucky, guessing that Rem and Flop won't be back in time to save her. When the word dead enters her mind, she thinks of her dead brother, Jamal. However, the sounds of the undead stopped, and the door opened, revealing a burning corpse. This corpse was then kicked to the side, and an Imperial soldier arrived, saying that he is sorry that he took so long to arrive. The man didn't have a bandana on his forehead, and his hair was down. He states that they need to leave. Katya states that he took too long and she was going to kill him if she died. With that, Katya and Todd hug. The scene changes. The battlefield changes in a variety of ways. The land pulsates with bloodshed. The loss of life, the great disaster, has arrived, as stated by the stargazers. Wallachia is a land with a lot of dead, killing and being killed. That bloodshed of Wallachia is a cornerstone of the plan. A voice rings out. All that remains is to carry the plan through to the end. Deliberation required. Yes, the bearer of the great disaster, the symbol of destruction, quietly and serenely celebrated themselves. With that, the chapter ends. That was another long chapter, so pretty much in summary, Rem and Subaru have met back up, Katya and Todd have reunited, and Spinks is the villain, as we sort of predicted. So Spinks is here, she's the one that's causing the great disaster. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that chapter. Tappy released it at such a weird time, and it was really long as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for watching.